Well, good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are, all the best. It's Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, Living Legacies. Oh, how I love saying that. It's Wednesday night, it's 7 o'clock EST time, and so here we are. Now, every Wednesday night, we bring you a leading lady, and we discuss all kinds of things. My name is Joy Ruffin, and I'm always honored and delighted to see you here. It's always good when you pop in because you get such good information. So tonight, we have a lady that I'm going to introduce you to if you've not met her already. Her name is Darcie Buzzelle. Interesting name, love that name. But more than that, or I should say aligned with that, is all of this good information she's going to be sharing with us. So you know my modus operandi by now. What I do is rather than share with you and tell you everything, I invite our guests in to share with you her story and why she loves what she does so much. And there we go. So let's say hello and meet our guest tonight. Hello, Darcie. I didn't say anything about your guest.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And we're on the West Coast, so it's only 4 o'clock here.
Yes. I understand. But listen, I'm honored and delighted to have you here because your story fascinates me. And I'm sure that there are many in the audience that it's going to be as interesting and fascinating too as well. Tell us a little bit about you, your background, and how you've come to do what you do now, Darcie, as briefly as you can.
Okay, I'll try and be brief. Joy and I are in the same gig together. She works on how you physically look, and I work essentially on how you present yourself and your products and your promotions and your marketing and your stories, because it's all about our stories and how we connect.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my gig. Is I'm a visual storyteller, and I help you get noticed.
I'm playing with these dials, Darcie, but thank you for your patience. Yes, you do. And I love the way that you do that. So tell us a little bit about how you do that, because most everyone that I've met, no matter how successful they are at this juncture, are wanting to be more so. So what is it that's your special aisle of genius that you do to help us all get noticed more?
Well, I think first of all, it's about the stories, and not only the stories that we think everybody wants to hear in terms of, how successful I am and how amazing I am and how wonderful I like, how everything just clicks. What people really want to know about are your bruises, because we all have bruises and they make for way better stories. And our stories are really how we connect. So part of my story is I am in month 4 recovery from brain surgery. And I had a big tumor on my left brow. So it was the size of a plum. And they had to cut my head from ear to ear, flap my face over my chin, pull the tumor out, and then I had 60 staples in my head, and they couldn't put my they always knew I had loose screws.
You know what? Without humor.
Story kind of sets the ground for is that we all have, we've all got hiccups in our life. And apparently we're going to have 5 or 6 crises over our lifetime. So it's all about how can we be resilient and not have a pity party.
So important, because you've got to learn to be resilient in this wonderful, wacky, crazy, exciting, exhilarating business that we're all in if we're working online. It takes a lot of resiliency and finding your target audience, which is what you really are about supporting all of us in doing. So tell us, how did you come to that? By the way, I love your stories. They say the harder you laugh, that it's the truer and the more authentic it is. And the way you shared that, it's heartwarming. So thank you for sharing that, because humor is everything, right? But tell us, how did you come, Darcie, to discover that you have a natural for helping and supporting those of us who are not as knowing as we want to be, our area of genius? How did that come to you?
Well, again, I keep talking about these stories. I think there's this notion that when asked, who is your audience, everyone says everyone.
Yes.
But, if you think you can be, that everybody is your audience, you're going to be nothing to nobody. And quite frankly, your content's going to suck, because it's not focused. It's not talking to your audience. So I have been around the block a few times. I was trained as a store designer. I won awards. I won clients for my audience, my customers. And it's all about how you connect with that audience. And so a big piece of what I do, one of the trainings that I have in my marketing school, is called Who Do You Buzz? And it's all about defining your target audience. And I do it through a panty personality. So does your audience wear tighty whities, or boxers or briefs? Do they have granny whackers, or do they have G-strings? and you just can picture who's going to wear the granny whackers and who's going to wear the G-strings. And then you can have such fun with the content that you put together, because you've made your audience laugh, and laughing is a wonderful connection to take your audience on a journey.
Absolutely. I love the way that you explain that. But tell me this, Darcie, how many and what percentage of the people who come to you, they know what their talents and their gifts are, but they're not quite sure, and I'm including myself somewhat in this equation, of how to package and get out to that ideal audience that belongs and needs to be with them? Because most people, my limited awareness and knowing, I've discovered that you want to serve everyone, but you can't. You just can't. So what percentage of people come to you that you help them define and discover what their area of genius is and who they need to connect with? Can you speak to that a wee bit?
Well, I think what percentage of my audience? Well, everybody who works with me, this is the foundation. You can't create content. You can't sell to anybody. You can't do any of those things if you don't know who you're selling to.
Yes.
I think the other thing that's really critical is whether you're a coach or a mentor, whether you're a network marketer or a distributor, whether you're helping people with how they dress and what their style is, you have to know that before they buy from you, they must first buy you. And so you need to figure out how you're going to change someone's life.
I have to tell you that answer is spot on for me at this point in time, and hopefully for many of the people who tune in and listen to this. And you know why? Because what you said about first you have to know you yourself, because one of the standard phrases that I use almost every week, if not every, is that the first relationship that we build is with ourselves. And that honesty about who you are and what you want to represent and your principles, your character, and all that other good stuff. If you don't really know what that is, then it's hard to connect and relate to someone else. So you said it in a more profound way, but that's the bottom line. That's the basis of it. Yes?
Absolutely. And I can't stress enough that everyone is not your audience.
Yes.
Absolutely. And there's a wonderful piece of training that I have in my school called 1,000 True Fans. And the whole idea of it was written by a gentleman named Kevin Kelly. And it's all about that if you really know what kind of market you're in, you serve your clients well, it is much easier to get the client you already have to buy more than to get a new client. And you really only need 1,000 true fans, and you will have reached the financial target that you want.
Love that, Darcie. I tell you why, because I think most of us, and I don't ever like including myself into the equation, but we're all part of the human race, so to speak. I think so many of us who want to serve and feel that we have a service that we want to offer, you want to offer it to almost everyone. And you see many people who maybe need or want it, but so your point about 1,000 X amount, it just makes so much sense. And I think in another way, one of the questions that I had, which I think you've already answered, is what is your area of genius? What is it that you want to promote? What is it that you want to be of service to others with? That's the knowing, discovering that. Do you sometimes help people to define and discover what that? Yes.
Absolutely. So, I think it's interesting. Let's, for example, say you are a retired school teacher and you taught kids that were in kindergarten. And so now you've gone into network marketing.
Yes.
And going back to this premise, before they buy from you, they need to buy you first. And so you have an authority or an expertise that you need to leverage or deliver.
Right.
And you say, what in heaven's name can that be? I'm a retired school teacher. And so what we need to do, or what I help folks do, is first and foremost, you, as a retired school teacher of little kids, you know how to herd cats. And by herding cats, you also know how to teach little people to tie up their shoes and put their raincoat on and get it off and sit in the chair before the school bell rings. So that kind of expertise is a great skill set to bring when you're trying to recruit a team, because you know how to teach that team to work in an environment.
Now, my friend Darcie, you speak to something else that I'm almost apologetic in saying this and stating this at this time in my life, but it's the truth. That is that none of us, I don't care what your talents, what your gifts, what your skills are, we do nothing alone. We need a team. We need a circle. We need a group of people there with us all the time. So I like the way the analogy that you're using about the school teacher, whatever the gifts and talents and skills are, you assemble people to support you. And this is one of the intentions, Darcie, that I have for this show, that all of the people who tune in and listen, whether they do it tonight or whenever they tune in for the replay. By the way, I've not been circling anything through here. I'm so enthralled with your conversation about means and ways that they can touch base with you so they can get more information about all the possibilities that are available to them. Now, you mentioned something that earlier about a team and getting to know yourself and all of that. Tell us to date what you have found is the number one issue or concern that people come to you with that you help them with.
Well, I think first and foremost is there is an expertise that resides in each of us.
Okay.
And what everyone has to understand is what theirs is, and to learn how to leverage that. Because by leveraging it, it then allows you to understand how you can change someone else's life.
I like that.
Yeah, and so this isn't about buy my stuff. This is about how can I make a difference in your life. And I can only do that when I first listen, so that I can help. And part of that listening is understanding what you bring to the table, so you know how you can help someone else. And the big challenge, I think, everybody says, well, I just want them to buy my stuff. And the fact is, when you help people, they ultimately open their wallet, because the money we want is in the wallets of other people.
Ooh, you come up, so many.
They open their wallet when they are happy, delighted, excited about what you are doing for them.
Yes.
And in doing so, you help yourself.
You know, you're just spot on here, Darcie, because one of the things I'm scrolling across the screen now that you and I had a little bit of a conversation about, and that is how each and every one of us has to learn to embrace our differences. And if that's what we're going to promote, and that's what I would assume, and assuming is sometimes deadly, that when people come to you, part of your exploration with them is helping them to find or discover what that difference is that they can market and be profitable with for themselves and for the people that they're working with. Would you say that that's somewhat of a true statement?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And this doesn't mean you got to dig a big, this is, it's at everybody's fingertips. It's not something that's a secret. It's not something that's hidden, but it may be something you're not completely aware of.
And you know what that reminds me of, Darcie, because I've heard it zillions of times, and I know you have as well, is that oftentimes we don't really see ourselves, and people can see in us what we're not cognizant of. We might be aware, but it's not something that's blatantly, boom, foreseen or shown in a way, but others can see it. And that's what you're speaking to somewhat.
Yeah.
You have more men or women who come to you for the work that you're doing?
Well, I turn the guys away. Yeah, I'm really about helping the broads, you know, and to do it with kind of, while we're all having fun and having lots of giggles. You know, I have been known to say a couple of 4-letter friend getters, and some people don't appreciate that. But for me, it's all about, you know, can we laugh together? Can we have a good giggle together? And then we can get some great work done together. But I think too many of us take things maybe a little too seriously. Yes. And there are some really, a lot of people don't know necessarily that there's a lot of psychology to selling.
I have to tell you that there's no question that I myself guilty of that. And that being the case, I have to say to you that bottom line, I think that's probably one of the major issues with most of the people who come to you, that our selling skills and our business skills aren't as acute as they could be or should be. That
yeah, and I think a lot of us have been employees, and now we're entrepreneurs, or trying to be. And as my dad said, you know, when you work for yourself, you only have to work half days. You just have to decide if it's the first 12 hours or the second.
That's so spot on, really and truly. Listen, you're sharing so much information with us, and the whole point, Darcie, is that people will look and get your name and get your website, which I'm scrolling across from time to time here. This is a new format, so I'm still having fun with it. Thank God for your patience and mine. But I'm hoping that they will connect with you and get to all of this rich, juicy information that you can make available to them. And it's something that I think any and everyone who's working online needs at some level, beginning, middle, or towards the end, because we're never all knowing. So that's going to be a big thing. What is it that you want to share with us, maybe, that we might not be aware of right here and now? Something that would benefit, let's say, if you're on your journey of starting out in business, and what would be an unknown tip that you could give us that would benefit most of us in that process?
I think the tip is, in essence, my freebie, which you've just put down on the bottom of the screen there. And the idea is, my philosophy is, you need 3 things to have a successful business. And those 3 things are, and I got little things here. First of all, you have to uncover your awesome.
Oh, I like that.
There we go. And then you need to figure out who your audience is.
Got it.
And then you need to kind of chewing gum and walking at the same time.
Yes.
And then you need to attract that audience. And so what I've called this is a trifecta. You need to unleash your awesome. You need to understand your audience, and then you need to attract them. And the attraction part is about getting noticed. So if you're invisible and no one knows you're there, it doesn't matter how hard you've worked on putting all of your other pieces together. You definitely need to figure out how you stand out from the crowd. And you don't need to be an extrovert to do that.
Yes.
You do need to have a voice.
I think that the way you put that is that you have to find a way. You see, competition has always been in my mind. Darcie, share with me your thoughts on this, because I think competition is good.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's some people just run and they stray away from competition, and he's doing what I'm doing and she's about to do, but it's good. It keeps you revved up here and always thinking about something new possibly that you can do. Speak to us a little bit about how I don't know if you can, but I feel that you can help one to discover, as I said, most of us don't see ourselves, to discover that innate, whatever skill or talent it is that you want to bring to the market. How do you help people discover that? What is one of the secrets that you indulge in?
Well, this little course that I have about who you buzz, or uncovering your avatar's panty personality, which sounds incredible. But I mean, many years ago, they asked Clinton, was he a boxer or a brief man? And he said, well, usually briefs. And everybody said, I want to know that he's a human being. And when Obama was asked, he said, I don't answer those kinds of questions. So, but I think the idea here is that in order for us to deliver, to change people's lives,
yes,
we need to know about ourselves a bit. So I have these little quizzes that kind of define what kind of person you are. Or your personality is. And they're really kind of, for me, quite telling. And the number of gals that have gone through these have been always a bit surprised to see the outcome of it. And so it just gives a little bit of a structure, and it's not, engraved in stone or anything. But what this does is, once you've taken them, then it helps you see what your customer's personality is. And so then, and your target audience isn't about how old somebody is. Your target audience is about interests. Your target audience is about experiences. Your target audience is about, do you golf? Do you crochet? Do you knit? Do you whatever? Because you want conversations with your customer, not
Darcie,
buy my stuff.
Darcie, I don't think I'm meeting a lot of people and loving all of these leading ladies that I'm meeting and that I'm interviewing, and I'm just falling in love over and over and over again, which is easy for me. That's something about me we'll find out when we do my analysis. But the bottom line is, you mentioned a word there. You brought into this conversation here a word that's really it's pivotal for me. You said it's not about their age and all the other factors. It's about interests. Do they have an interest? Are they interested enough to dwell, look, seek, research enough into. And that's something that's never been brought to the core of what's possible for the audience that you're seeking before. I love that. I'm putting up here, at least I put up here your freebie, and I want you to speak a little bit to this, because this is something that they can take a little snapshot of or just write it down. It'll be in the comments, and then they can get to you for this brochure that's complimentary, which is, I'm sure, packed full of all kinds of good information. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this bit.ly link gets you into my marketing school, and there is a free training there, yes. Which is the called the trifecta, which is about your awesome, your audience, and your advertising. And what it does is just explain why you need to have all three of those pieces in place. Mm-hmm. And it's about 25 minutes long, and you don't have to pay for it, but you do have to register. So as soon as you do that, I know you're there. And we can then, after you've taken a look at this training, we can have a quick little call and see kind of where you're at in the grand scheme of things. Have you just come online? Are you part of a network marketing company? Are you a coach? Are you, what kind of goals do you have? Mm-hmm. And I've got probably about 40 different trainings.
Wow.
So there's you can pick and choose some, you can play in some, and once you're in it, with the exception of the subscription site, the monthly membership site, mm-hmm. you can once you've purchased a program, it's yours for life.
I love it. I love it. I love it because I think there's so many of us out here who really need more of the inside awareness and the genius that you bring to us. And my prayer is that, no, it's the truth. Listen, I don't brown nose, and you get to know me, you know that. I just don't. I like your thing about the different types of underwear and all of that. But the bottom line is, you brought to us lots of good information. The time is always too short, Darcie. What I'm going to do is ask them to make sure, and I'm going to put this not only in the comments, but I want to make sure that they go and get to this link, the bit.ly link, and get your free complimentary brochure. And also that they connect with you. Email, text, Facebook. There's so many different ways today.
Yeah. My business page is called Sticky Bee Ideas.
Yes, which is easy. And once they get here, they can get to all of that. I can only say that the time just flies here, and it goes before you can say, woo, it's here and it's gone. And you and I are troopers, because we got through, and I'm still futzing around with these dials. So thank you for
Joy, you're a treat. You're just a delight.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual, my love. It really is. I'm going to ask you, I love to say this, to go into the green room, the staging room, and then I'm going to say so long to the audience for now, and I'll be with you in just a second. Thank you. I love that.
This has been a hoot. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. All mine. Thank you, my love. So long for now. Oh, my. What can I say? Here we are. Wednesday night, 7 p.m., Leading Ladies, Leading Legacies, Living Legacies, and Darcie Buzzelle, I hope you will connect with. She is delightful in so many different ways. Her story is fascinating, her energy, her enthusiasm, and all of that good stuff. And she knows her merchandise. Well, all of the ladies that I bring to you, they do. My prayer and my intention is that you, if not right here and now, as soon as you're able or you can, send out that friend request, connect with her and all of the ladies that I bring to you. And then we build our circle, our tribe of women who are connected, because, ladies, it's our time. Let me end by saying this. If you are wanting to be more about how you can discover your signature style and stamp it to you, then what I want you to do is just pop in the word. I'm looking here so I can put it up here so you can see it. Pop in the word style in the comments, and then the book will be delivered to you automatically. And it's going to be filled and packed with all kinds of, my keyword this week is juicy information that you're going to find. I can hear her chuckling there. By the way, keep in mind that every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. we come to you with the leading lady to share her story, her information with you. And then we're hoping, the prayer, as my momsy would say, is to pass it on, because we're all here. And ladies and gents, we're not sexist here. We welcome you too, for your lady, for your significant other, for your mate, your partner, however it plays out. May I say that it's always my honor and my pleasure to share time and space with you. And the more of you who come in and connect with us, the better. This group is public. So if this is your first time here and you're watching the replay or you come after, just ask to join the group. We'd love to have you with us. We invite company and different and varied opinions about everything. That's how we grow and that's how we expand. You have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. All the best. And I look forward to seeing you again. Same time, same station next week. Until then, be and stay well. All the best. So long for now. Cheers. Good evening and welcome to Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, Living Legacies. Well, it's Wednesday night, and Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we bring you an awesome leading lady who's going to share with you her journey, why she does what she does, and why she loves it so much. So tonight, you, as we present to you every Wednesday night, you're in for a treat, because our guest tonight is none other than the Jane M. Powers, and her title is Let's Talk Impact. So much evolves and revolves around that, but it's all about professional speaking. No matter what you're doing and how you're going about it, your message and the content that you deliver has to be impactful. And that's what she's going to share with us, how she came to that, why she's doing it, and why she loves it so much. And if you've not met her, I want you to tune in, get the name, get the website, get the email address, and you connect with her. But we're going to share a lot of good information with you tonight. I want you to say hello and welcome to our guest tonight, Jane M. Powers. Jane, hello and welcome.
Yeah, hello, everybody.
Yes, indeed. It's great to have you here. I know you, and maybe some of the people out there, but we're going to act like maybe they don't know you. So we're going to begin by you telling us how you came to this professional speaking and supporting people and helping them to develop their own sense of style in their speech and their delivery. How did you come to this?
All right. And I hope everybody can hear me okay. I want to make sure that you do not miss a word of what I am sharing. And I just have to say, I listened to Joy and I'm just sitting here like getting relaxed and just, you have that voice, Joy, that just absolutely is intriguing. So,
Well, bless you.
I want to make sure that you understand. So my name is Jane Powers, and entrepreneurs do hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority, because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent, and they're leaving a ton of money on the table. So I help them connect, capture, and close their ideal audience. You know, Joy, my motto is bottom line. Every time you open your mouth, you must make money. And you know, I didn't always open my mouth and make money. I'm telling you, I didn't really open my mouth, to be honest with you. I was the invisible kid growing up. Like many of you, you may have had a complicated childhood. I'd like to say it that way. And I learned you just didn't speak up. You just didn't shine. So I played very small. I was invisible. I didn't want to be noticed. And when I began to look at my life and thought, why doesn't this life feel right? Like something is not right in me. I discovered it was because I didn't have my voice.
You know, Jane, I have to interject here because I know, I have my knowing. There are certain things that come to us and that we don't question anymore. I know now that based on what you just shared with the audience, that I'm almost willing to bet you that if not 50%, more of them out there in that audience have had that same somewhat experience. Have you found that to be so in your teachings thus far? Yes.
Absolutely. It is rare. It is absolutely rare if I don't find someone that has either the imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. I call it shine-itis. They don't want to shine. There's a fear of shining. So I do. I believe, honestly, that it is probably the number one factor amongst women in business. And
Especially women, I think.
Especially women.
Yes.
Yes, especially women, because we're just told different things. Things are expected of us. I'll tell you, I started out playing basketball. That's my entire life. I have been in athletics. So I have been on the courts, on the ice, on the road, on the track. And after I got out of the university, I was Division I basketball. So I was a point guard, and don't let this tiny little body fool you, because I got a whole lot of attitude.
Listen, I'm chuckling because I played basketball as well. And I remember there was a petite woman on the floor with us, and she was awesome. She was scary, and she was so good. Yes.
Yes. And so after I got out of the university, I would go play basketball with men.
Yes.
And I had zero self-esteem, but I knew how to play. I was probably better than 80% of them in there. And I would go in, and I was the only woman in there, and they treated me differently. So I had to learn how to stand up for myself. And then I got really smart, and I understood how men operated. Men operate one up, one down. They don't know how to partner. It's I'm better than you, or I'm going to be submissive to you. So I experimented with it. And I'd go in about by the third week. By the third week, I was running the entire gym, 4 courts. Everyone listened to me because I understood how to state what my expertise was and to be able to position my audience, which were the players. But I'll tell you, Joy, I could go in, I would knock them around. I'd say whatever I want. And afterwards, they'd ask me to come out for lunch with them.
But also you were intuitive enough that you could sense, and you knew their modus operandi. You knew how they operate and how they think. So you were able to do that. Not everyone has that gift, my Jane. Not everyone.
I'm going to tell you, I have the gift of that, but I'm going to give everybody the secret to that. And the secret is this. I don't even know. This book was probably written in the 80s, maybe earlier. I don't even know. It's called Women's Reality. I think I have a torn up copy on my bookshelf. Women's Reality. Do not know the author, but Women's Reality, basically what it says is women give away too much information. We excuse, apologize, and I'm a tough woman. Yes. But I find myself, I'm still a woman, so I still have some habits of that. I'll tell you, I learned in business, you can't apologize for being brilliant. You can't apologize for asking for money. You can't apologize and undercharge. You cannot be apologetic for your brilliance, because you are here because of your what you've been through. And you know, I am a speaking and sales coach, but I do all business strategies. But my number one business strategy is become so good at what you uniquely do that no one can do it better.
Well, here is the separating difference, because you know and I know, and for me and for you, not knowing but knowing, competition, it's there, you're aware of it and you know, but not really. Because there are other people who are doing what you're doing, but they're not combining in the way that you are, the selling and the speaking together. But what you spoke to, I want to make sure I get this book right, because I'm a voracious reader, and I like to think that I keep up to speed with stuff. I've not heard of this book. So I want to make sure that you text or put this in, because I want to put this into notes somewhere to make sure women like me and others will get this and read this book, because this is something that obviously we all need to know more about. But yes, what you're doing is somewhat different, because you're combining the content, the professional speaking, with the ability to promote whatever it is that you're doing. That's a special gift, I think. Not that others don't do it, but the way that you do it, you've combined it with what you call coding. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I'll tell you about the coding. And I'm so excited because I just looked and I see that I can actually see comments. I love that, because I love being able to see what everybody wants to learn. If you're like, oh my God, you're right on, or oh, that's crazy, then I want to respond to all that. So
wonderful. Please do, because my screen is wacko here. I only see one person, but that's okay. If you can see them, address them and go.
There's a ton of comments, and I don't know if I'm even being seen by everybody, but absolutely. Yes. And Teresa, I love that. We have a speaker assessment, and one of our speaker assessment types is the overloader. And the overloader comes in, gives information, writes their talk, and then goes in and finds the kitchen sink, puts that in their talk, gets the neighbor's kitchen sink, puts that in their talk. And I'm going to tell you what happens when you overload.
Jane, they say when you laugh, the harder you laugh, the truer it is. You see me chuckling here. Yes.
Exactly. I'm an overloader. I'm a
Yeah.
classic overloader. Because I'm just like, I'm going to give you everything. Go out. If you fail, come and I'll help you. But here's the truth. What I know, when you overload your audience with too much information, what is happening is two things. Number one, they get overwhelmed. They're a deer in headlights. And next thing you know, they're doing nothing with it. And they're like, oh, and they're worse off because they have the knowledge, but they can't implement it. So now you're the bad person.
More confusion. You're adding more confusion in the pot.
Yet more information, and then they become very knowledgeable, but they are not rich. They are not advancing. They're not fluent, because what they end up doing is they are frozen. The second thing they do, and this is probably the worst out of the two, they attempt to take everything, implement it themselves. They screw up. It's your fault now.
Yes. Yes.
So that's like, people will be like, oh, I know how to do it. I do that all the time. I'm like, I know how to do that. I'm going to do it myself. And then I do it halfway and I screw it up. I'm like, oh, that model doesn't work. So that is the disadvantage. That is the disadvantage of overloading too much information. But let's talk about my coding system. And truth be told, I have ripped off every single personality profile out on the planet and have put it into the science of Jane. Oh, Susan Atwell. I see Susan's on here. RJ's on here. I love this. And what happens is we end up with so I'm sorry, I got all happy to see Susan and RJ. Where was I?
That way too, Jane. We're excitable people. Yes, go.
Yes. So here's what happens. We end up, I put together every bit of my experience in sales and speaking, and I have put it into the science of Jane. And you're not going to find it at Harvard study. You're not going to find it anywhere. What it is I've taken the different types of individuals I have run into, put them into my coding system, your core code. And it's like, you see strength finders, passion. I think it's a passion test, DISC, all of them, Myers-Briggs. We just looked at what is it that I see out there so much. And I don't care why someone leads or how they lead or why they're a good lover or why they're a great leader. What I care about is helping them clearly get to their yes and no.
Yes.
I want to understand for you, how do you honor your buyer, identify them, and speak their language? Their
language. That's the key.
And it's not to get them to buy, make them a buyer. It's to help them find their voice to be able to get to their vision. We're the vehicle that takes people to their destination. If their destination is, I want a business where I'm speaking and making more money, then I'm a great fit. If they come to me and they're like, I want someone to help me build a rocket ship, well, I'm not the person for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably could watch YouTube. You probably figure it out. But truth be told, you can't serve everybody. But I have a philosophy on niching. Some people niche so narrow, it pinches their brain so they can't function.
Well, I hear you loud and clear there, because one of the things depending on your persona and your personality and all of that, people can get easily, and you know this, Jane, confused because one says this and another says that. And if you're a newbie and you're starting out and yet you know you have these gifts and talents, you just become more and more confused. So I think one of the many gifts that you have is that you're able to help one define and stay in their lane, and you're much more broad-based in what you present and offer them.
Yeah. And what's really important is you can stand in a room and have 40 speaking coaches and 40 sales coaches. What I do is I want to make sure that I stand out amongst that big crowd.
Yes.
And what most people do, they Google what they do, they find their competitor, tweak a few words, and then launch a product. Just find who you are uniquely, find what you stand for. And it's something, here's a hint. It's something you say all the time. It is something that you say over and over. You're at a networking event. I found myself saying, basically what I do is I take people and I help them speak with confidence. And then after that, they've got to sell with authority. And I went, I say that all the time. It became the title of my book, Speak with Confidence, Sell with Authority. And then I'm like, that's part of my infomercial.
Now, here might not be the time, but I don't follow rules. You know me and not know me, but you know me. And I heard you say once, because I listen and tune in as often as I can to everything, that people, and I know this to be, but I was happy to hear you say it. People are ripping you off left, right, and back, forth, center, around. They're just ripping you off. And they're ripping you off. Why? Why do people emulate, copy, and rip people off? Because they don't have that natural, whatever it is, themselves. So they copy and emulate until they find themselves, or what?
Fail. Like, honestly, and there's modeling. You want to model. Model. You don't want to. I'll tell you, I was trained by Mary Morrissey. Mary Morrissey was a former minister. She was a spiritual being, a spiritual guide, and she'd go through and say things like, there's a green growing edge of your becoming, seeking to emerge by means of you, through you, with you, by you. And I was saying that. And I'm not there's a green growing edge of your becoming. Like, there's not oh my, this is you and the green growing edge. I'm like, stop saying it. But we were, you're trained. So you're like, yes, I will take that and I will go as a robot and give that. It's not yours. It's not uniquely yours. Find your unique perception of what your ideal mentor is doing. And I have done VIP days with people. I've had clients call me and go, hey, I'm just going to take your formula, put my name to it and use it. Is that okay? I'm like, no. And they still do. And I'm like, here's the thing. They will either be found out or it's not authentically theirs and they won't be able to make it a success.
Let me say this to you, because this is not, you don't have to put your tiara on. I know you have one hiding there somewhere.
Yes.
Don't put it on. But here's another gift I find, and I know from tuning in and listening here, there, and yonder that you have. You're able to, you know how they've always said that people have something within them that others can see and they themselves can't see. I think that's another gift that you have. And I think that when you say, speak with authority, sell, whatever the saying is.
Speak with confidence, sell with authority.
Sell with authority. You are able to see in a person the best way for them to deliver whatever their message is. That's a gift. And what you're saying, if I'm hearing you, and I know that I am, that we all have to find what we say often, what we do often, and make that our message. That's powerful. That's very powerful.
Without a doubt. I'll give you, here's a great example. Here's a great example. Tammy Lane, good friend of mine. I had met her years ago and saw her on stage. And she just, I wanted to get a hold of her to help her speak. And she was dodging me. I mean, dodging me. And I'm a stalker. When I see something in someone, I think, Joy, I stalked you, I think 2 years.
You did?
I stalked Tammy, and Tammy said to me, I said, Tammy, you're avoiding me. I know you are. Why? And she said, I don't want you to make me a speaker like you. And I said, my goodness, if I ever did that, I mean, that would be the worst. That would be the greatest disservice to your audience, to me. And God knows we only want one of me. But I told her, I said, we're going to take your unique style. And Tammy is an educator. Susan Atwell on here, educator.
Yes.
RJ, entertainer, and overloading educator. So what I do is I help them to bring to life their personality with the right amount of information at the right time with the right results. So when Tammy and I work together, I write, because that's what I do, is I write people's talks. Yes. I wrote Tammy's talk. She went out and just, I mean, brought down the house. It was, and she's like, you are so right. You did not make me you. I need more of her, which actually, when you really shine the light on who you are, you sell more.
That is beyond, that's more than profound. But listen, I want you to tune into what Teresa's saying here, because my mindset, my outlook, and I know you too, this is powerful what she just said. Words don't teach, they touch.
Yes.
And in that message that we are delivering in our signature talks, it has to be able to touch and connect and relate to the avatar, target, all these different names, that the people that you want to reach out to. That's very, very powerful. What's the number one thing? I'm sure there are many, but what is the number one flaw that you find with most of the people who come to you who want to be able to deliver their talk and to be able to, I like the word convert more people to come over to their side because they need you? What's the number one thing? People often say fear. I don't know if it's necessarily fear. I'd like your thoughts on that.
So it may be the overarching storyline is fear. That may be what the issue is, but more than likely it's a fear of finding your unique voice, fear of failure, fear of looking like a fool, fear of not knowing what to say, fear of running out of things to say, fear of being too pushy. So is it fear? Sure. It could be a fear of a lot of things, but here's what I know. The majority of people that want to speak. Now, please understand when I say speak, what I mean is podcast, just like this, a panel, a video, a Facebook Live, anything that you're doing is a speaking. It could be a conference room in front of a board. Speaking is delivering your message so that it eventually sells or sells on the spot. And the biggest issue most people have is, number one, they have everything out of order. They have information, every single thing out of order. The very first thing you must do is position yourself as the expert.
Right.
That's the very first thing you must do. And quite frankly, my patented trademarked intromercial is what positions me. I start everything with my intromercial, which positions me as the expert.
Yes.
So most people get it out of order and then they teach.
Now, Jane, you just said something there, and I want to piggyback onto this because I think this is very powerful and more than profound, because I know that you know, and most everyone here in the audience, they're familiar with Marianne Williamson. Whether you like her or not is irrelevant, but she made a very poignant point here not too long ago in one of her quotations. And I don't remember it verbatim, but it was something like, it's not our inadequacies that we fear. It's that we're more powerful than we know. And it's our light that we fear and not the darkness. Something close to that. Have you heard that? Are you familiar with that quote?
Absolutely, yeah. And I know Marianne.
And what you're saying is piggyback right onto that message, that quotation. Yes.
Yep, that's the biggest thing. The biggest factor is I don't want to outshine someone, or if I shine and then they find out that I'm not the real deal or I'm a fraud. I'll tell you, I had the imposter syndrome. I was so afraid that people found out, if they found out I had a BA, a bachelor's, instead of a BS, I thought, oh my God, it's not. And to top it off, Joy, I had a bachelor's of arts in therapeutic recreation. Like, that was my degree. And I'm standing up doing sales training, mindset training, business development. I was so afraid that people would find me out that I was acting as a very educated, formal speaker. And then one time, and you know this story, Joy, I stood in front of this giant sales conference, an early morning meeting. I mixed up my words and I said, so when you progress through the fart, what you will do, and inside, my voice said, you just said fart. The audience didn't even react to me.
Listen, that imposter syndrome that you speak about, you spoke to that once, and I heard you say, and one of my many mentors, and a woman that I idolize and adore in a positive way, not negative in any way, was Maya Angelou. And she, you said, was in this syndrome. Yes. And I'd never heard that. I never knew that. She was a mentor to me many, many moons ago. And yet, I guess many people, especially women, have that. More women than men.
Maya Angelou, there's a quote by Maya Angelou that says, I have written 11 books. I am going to be found out. I'm going to be found out that I pulled a fast one on them. Tina Fey has it. And who's the Meryl Streep? Denzel Washington. A lot of these folks are saying, hey, I chalk it up to beginner's luck. It was just, happened to be in the right place at the right time. And we discount our brilliance. But I'll tell you, I said the word fart, and then I stopped and I thought, I have a choice at this very moment. I can continue to be that speaker, or I can be real. Yeah. And that was like 100 years ago. And I said, either you people aren't listening to me or you don't think farts are funny. And the room died. They all started laughing. And from that point forward, I became a real speaker, confessing my truths, meaning, hey, I was first to sit down in the spelling bee. I was a PE major, but I graduated with therapeutic recreation.
And Jane, you just mentioned something that all of us who are into this professional speaking and going into that circle, that big arena, which is really humongous, we all know that humor and storytelling will take you any and everywhere. Now, I come from a line of storytellers. I didn't get that humor joke, but yet somebody said to me, you're funnier than you think you are. So that was a positive in many ways. Listen, you and I could go on and on and on and on. We know that. But I want the audience to know you have an event coming up. Yes. In November. I think you said it's November the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. For those who are here now and those who will come later for the replay, I want you to tell us a little bit about that and invite them in, and what are you offering them? Because I've attended one of your events and they are awesome. I hope to be a lifetime member from now on. So tell us a little bit about that and get them excited about it so that they can arrive there to see you.
Okay. All right, couple of different things. Number one, the event is for November 14, 15, and 16 in Scottsdale, Arizona. I can tell you right now, there is no better place to be during the November month than in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's absolutely beautiful. We are bonusing everybody because Joy is one of the all-time favorites of our events and the clients that I work with. We are gifting everyone a ticket to the event. Here's the only thing. You got to have skin in the game. I got to know you're coming so that I can reserve your seat. So that is absolutely the easiest thing for you to do. You go to, and if Joy, you can comment on this. I don't know if you can, but just go to letstalkimpact.com.
Okay.
If you go to letstalkimpact.com, register for a ticket, $197, fully refundable. I hand you your check back when you walk in the door. Mm-hmm. What you're going to get. Now, you can upgrade to VIP. I highly recommend. You get special speakers during lunch. You get me during lunch coaching and training. You get fed. We feed you the entire time. And you get about $10,000 to $15,000 worth of online programs. So, and some people do like a call. I mean, some people are actually getting on coaching calls. So you'll get a coaching session there, a laser coaching session with top in the industry of our coaches. And when you come, you're going to learn to speak with confidence, sell with authority. What that means is you're going to get an intromercial. Your intromercial is an elevator pitch on incredible amounts of steroids. I believe that the elevator pitch is a thing of the past, and it is not selling for you. So we will create an intromercial for you. I promise you. I coach personally. This event, we keep them smaller so that I can get to everyone and make sure you're getting served. We have team members that will be there to serve you. I teach, you implement. It's not sit and wait and hear how wonderful I am. I'm going to say, here's how you do it. Now get up and do it. Anchors in the learning. You'll learn how to speak. Then we do a day and a half of sales training. You're going to go through the coding, scripting. You're going to understand what to say, how to say it, where to go, what to do in not only getting booked, but how to speak to sell from any platform and how to do one-on-one or one-on-many sales. And I'm going to tell you, Joy, you know this. I believe I'm one of the best sales trainers on the planet and one of the best speaking coaches, because a lot of people are out there saying, tell your story, people will buy. People don't care about our story. People care about their story. I will teach you how to share your story so it actually empowers you and your audience and increase your sales conversions. And that's not the event. Let me give a couple other things away. Joy, you know what we should do? Everybody should go to yourspeakersuccesskit.com. That'll help you get in front of your ideal buyers. Yourspeakersuccesskit.com. speakersuccesskit.com.
Okay, I'll put that in. Okay.
It can help you get booked to speak. That's the main purpose of it, but it also gets you in front of the right decision makers in corporations.
Great.
Oh,
listen.
Hey, type this one in. We got one more. This
oh
is
my God. Listen, go.
Yeah.
We're running over time, but go.
All right, impactabot.com. IMPACTA bot.com. That's a 30-day program free to you. So
Woo.
just register on that and it'll kick a daily activity for you, 30 days, or you can catch up now and that'll get you included.
Great. Listen, we could go on and on and on. I think I'm going to have to extend the time here because it goes quickly and I'm taking these and doing something else with them and I have to chop it up. Jane, there's no words and I'm a wordsmith. So I'm telling you that I thank you, that this was wonderful. You've given us lots of good information. I'm going to make sure that letstalkimpact.com, your speakers, success, and the iBot, whatever. I'll put all of this into this book.
Impact a bot.
You must have to text me that because time is running here and I didn't jot it down. But all of the people who are here, I'm going to ask you to back to the green room, to the staging room. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience, and then you can text me that. Stay there if you can, and I'll come to say so long for you. Thank you so much. Fantastic information. The energy is over the moon, and that's why we're connected, because I love energetic people and leaders, and you are definitely one. So may I say so long. See you soon.
Take care.
Take care. You too. What can I say? While I'm attempting here with my beautiful cursor, which has its own personality, is she not a powerhouse? Is she not a firecracker? Yes, she is. And if you are not connected, if you are not familiar, if you are not knowing of her, Google. Get to know her because you will make it an investment that you will never, ever regret. She's all heart. She's strong. She's powerful. And yet the heart is sincere and absolutely dedicated to your success. That's what she's all about. Yes, there's money involved. We're business women, but the bottom line is making sure that you're going to be a success. And if you can get to her event in November, please do. If hubby and I weren't on the high seas, I would be there with bells on. But unfortunately, can't make this one. But I'm hoping that you will be able to get there because you will not ever regret being there. And may I say to you what I always say, thank you for being here. It's always good to see you here. I know that sometimes it's not easy, but you make sure that you come. And if you're not here now, you'll hashtag replay. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Make sure you take advantage of all the tips and tools that were shared with you tonight. And I'll look forward to seeing you again. Same time, same station next week. You be and stay well. Take care of you first. All the best. Leading ladies, leaving legacies, living legacies. And that was our Jane M. Powers. Do connect. So long for now. Cheers.